Welcome to Parsons Field and Northeastern University's School of Law 2021 commencement ceremony. We are excited. We are excited to have you here for this important day. Before we begin, we want to take a moment to review some important health and safety protocols. We remind you that you must sit only in your own seat. If you travel to and from your seats, please maintain physical distance from others. Masks are required at all times. For your safety, please take a moment to locate the two exits closest to you. If an evacuation is required, please proceed calmly to the closest available exit and follow the direction of Northeastern officials and emergency personnel. If you see something, say something. Thank you, and please enjoy the ceremony. Would all candidates and guests please rise as you are able? Please remain standing until you are asked to be seated. Chief Marshal Jeffrey A. Bourne will now lead the procession of the platform party, with Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs of Northeastern University, David Madigan, and Dean of the School of Law, James R. Hackney.
Please be seated. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the Dean of Northeastern University's School of Law, James R. Hackney.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's a spectacular day. Today we gather to celebrate the class of 2021. Their impressive accomplishments, their perseverance, their futures as attorneys who will undoubtedly change our world for the better. In fact, as we have seen over the past 3 years, they already have. Provost Madigan, Ms. Nabiha Syed, members of the Board of Trustees and the corporation, faculty, graduates, staff, families, and friends. Welcome to the 2021 commencement exercises of Northeastern University School of Law. Above all, welcome to the class of 2021. As our students know, we don't usually hold our commencement on this field in the heart of Brookline. Thanks to President Aoun, Provost Madigan, Linda Bakarian, and the university commencement staff for making this happen. And a special thanks to Assistant Dean Michelle Harper, her team, and law school student leaders for planning this event. Just as everything in our world has changed over the past year, getting to this field may have literally required ride shares and teeth fairs. But figuratively, our students have climbed mountains to get to this terrain. Our JD students have done what our students always do, which is so much more than any other law students in the country. They have navigated moving back and forth between classrooms and co-ops, always a Herculean task, but made even more complicated by the remote and hybrid learning and distance co-ops that altered the landscape of their lives over this past year, just as it altered all of our realities. Studying legal casebooks and theories, and working long days, even remotely, in law offices, corporations, nonprofits, government agencies across the nation and globe, has been our students' challenge and their accomplishment. For those who have watched you, taught you, and supported you, your progress has inspired us. We have been your supporters and your teammates, and we know that through hard work, late nights, periods of previously unimaginable stress, and moments of extraordinary triumphs, you have gained the skills you need not merely to think like lawyers, but to practice law with precision and even elegance. Consider the achievements of your JD class as a whole. You're landing high-quality jobs, including prestigious fellowships, judicial clerkships, positions in major law firms, advocacy roles at leading public interest programs. You have completed approximately 300,000 hours of legal work and 800 placements. Your co-ops took you to 26 US states and territories, Washington, D.C., and 4 countries. 72 co-ops were in health law-related fields, an area where our law school has recently been ranked number 5 in the nation. And amazingly, your class devoted 137,000 hours to public interest co-ops. You have championed civil rights and human rights. You have advocated for restorative justice, worked at startups and major corporations, at labor unions and workers' rights centers, at large law firms and with solo practitioners, with judges, public defenders, and prosecutors. Through your hard work and dedication, you have made positive impacts on the clients you served and a society desperately that needs ethical, caring lawyers to ensure that the rule of law is paramount and, importantly, inclusive. And you will continue to work in critical positions that impact every aspect of society. We are proud of every one of you, including our 3 students awarded prestigious Skadden Fellowships, and our students who are fanning out in clerkships across the nation. From a federal judge in Utah to the Supreme Judicial Courts of both Maine and Massachusetts, you will be impacting the administration of justice from coast to coast. We know that you will make a difference in law firms, in government, in industry, in NGOs, and wherever else your paths take you. You chose Northeastern because you wanted to make a difference, and you are already doing so. Please join me in congratulating the 2021 graduating class, JD class. We are equally proud of another group of students earning a degree this year. This is the 10th graduating class of our on-campus Master of Laws program. This year, we will provide LLM diplomas to 29 lawyers from 20 countries, including Brazil, Canada, China, Colombia, Ethiopia, Ghana, Guinea, India, Iran, Mexico, Mongolia, Nigeria, Syria, Uganda, Ukraine, the United Kingdom, Uruguay, Venezuela, and Vietnam, as well as the United States. You are a truly global group. While most of you chose the general program, others chose concentrations in law and economic development, intellectual property and innovation, and international business. Our LLM students achieved success in securing co-op opportunities with law firms, international organizations, including the World Bank Group, government agencies, including the Massachusetts Department of Revenue and the Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, NGOs, and with the in-house legal departments of companies in a broad range of industries, including data privacy, technology, healthcare, and finance. We are proud of all you have achieved. In the fall of 2019, just a few months before the pandemic swept across the world, we launched our online LLM degree program. This fully online program is open to students from all across the world. While the pandemic has affected us all, the online LLM was built for students to learn remotely. So they were ahead of the curve for distance learning. Today, we congratulate this first cohort of students to complete this new degree program. We are excited to welcome to the ranks of Northeastern alumni all of you. Please join me in congratulating the LLM class of 2021. Today, we also celebrate the 5th graduating class of our Master of Legal Studies online program for professionals seeking to enhance their careers by acquiring legal skills and knowledge. We are thrilled to acknowledge the hard work and diligence of 14 students. They completed their degrees while working full-time for employers such as federal courts, aerospace companies, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, state agencies, and school districts across the country, nonprofit advocacy organizations, and higher education institutions. We are grateful that these graduates are now permanently part of the Northeastern community. Please join me in congratulating those who have earned a Master of Legal Studies degree. While today is a day of great joy, we also think about those whom we have lost to the COVID-19 pandemic, and to all of the ways loss and death have affected us in the past year. We were unable to be with family members who died alone in hospitals and nursing homes. We attended funeral services via Zoom, yet even when the sharp edges of loss cut so deeply, we found comfort and community. In particular, I want to remember Massachusetts Chief Justice Ralph Gants, a visionary member of the bar and bench, and the husband of Professor Deborah Ramirez. Chief Justice Gants was a lifetime long co-op employer, postgraduate employer, mentor, and friend to many in our Northeastern community, and a true champion for justice. He is truly and deeply missed. Before I introduce our speakers, I want to leave you with a few personal thoughts. You graduate at a critical moment in our history. Racism is an indelible scourge on our times, and we are beset with a host of social injustices that impact many in our communities. You will be the defenders of the rule of law and champions for justice that our society needs to probe our most painful injuries, to deal productively and effectively with our traumas, and to move forward in search of justice, reconciliation, and healing. I've been so impressed with not only your personal resilience in the face of unprecedented challenges across our globe, but also how much you have done to reach out to help others. You have assisted individuals in filing critical unemployment benefit claims. You have advocated for victims of domestic violence. You have sought and obtained restorative justice for families and communities scarred by racism and murder. You have taken the lead in helping our community reckon with racism and to find paths forward to ensure that every member of our society truly is treated with equal justice. I began my words today with thoughts of how strong you have been in climbing to this moment. Together, we have laid the groundwork for you to scale even greater heights, to face cliffs and precipices that may often seem insurmountable. But we know that you will persevere, even when there are no ropes to hold on to, no hooks to safely clasp. At times, you will stumble. You will lose your footing. You will miss your step, but you will come back to the trail. You will ascend. You will reach the peak, and then you will scan the horizon and look for even higher mountains to climb. You are Northeastern University School of Law graduates. There's no doubt in my mind that you will reach heights that make our world a better place. Best of luck to you. Now we turn to our speakers. It is my pleasure to introduce our first JD speaker of the day, Mariah Wilkins. Ms. Wilkinson's contributions to our Northeastern law community are exceptional. As past chair of the Black Law Students Association, she has led and participated in a variety of programs, activities, and events related to advancing Black and brown students and the fight against racial oppression. She has been a mentor, a role model to our students, and served as a student member of the Northeastern University Police Department Advisory Board. This spring, Ms. Wilkins was selected for the Huntington 100, which honors 100 outstanding Northeastern students for encompassing the university's missions, ideal, and values. We are not the only ones who recognize Ms. Wilkinson's accomplishments and potential. She has been awarded the prestigious postgraduate Skadden Fellowship. She will spend her 2-year Skadden appointment at the Legal and Justice Center in Charlottesville, Virginia, where she will utilize direct representation, zoning advocacy, and community-based initiatives, such as community benefits agreements, to address housing inequality and racial injustice in Charlottesville and the surrounding county. Please welcome Ms. Wilkins to the stage.
Thank you, Dean Hackney. Good afternoon. In thinking about what I wanted to say in this speech, I thought of one of the first speeches I heard at NUSL. It was a speech delivered by Professor and now Deputy Director Shalonda Baker. She talked about the magic, a feeling among the students and faculty at NUSL that I even felt as an admitted student. During my visit, I couldn't describe what it was about the students, the faculty, or just the energy and vibe at NUSL, but in that instance, she described what I felt that entire day. I don't remember what everybody said or did, but I remember vividly how I felt. I felt welcomed, I felt authenticity, and a sense of belonging and comfort that I never expected from a law school, let alone any academic setting. That's how I knew this place was so special, and I could feel it intuitively. But even after I accepted and began my first year of law school, my experience exceeded my expectations because of all of you, the class of 2021. Yeah, give it up. The class of 2021 exceeded my expectations as peers, colleagues, and most importantly, friends. I have learned and gained more from you all than I ever thought I could learn in all of law school. I expected to grow professionally and academically, but because of all of you, I experienced growth in all areas of my life, and honestly, the legal skills I learned were just a bonus. Prior to law school, many of you were already well-versed in serving underserved and marginalized communities. You were organizers, you were advocates, you were engaged in making public policy. You were already doing the work that we so desperately need to continue today. And then you came to Northeastern for law school to become more knowledgeable, to go out and do it again, but this time equipped with new tools, more knowledge, and with the privilege of having a law degree. At first, I was intimidated by that because I knew that I had a lot of catching up to do because I, for one, had no such experience other than volunteering. But over time, I became inspired to not just be a lawyer, but to learn the skills of a true community advocate, organizer, and activist. But I'm glad that this place and you all allowed me, and I'm sure many of you, to learn and grow in unparalleled ways. And that's why I believe that the class of 2021 can and will be the driving force in continuing the movement and revolution because of a lot of you were already moving towards true justice and equality. The uncompromised and unfettered passion, the drive against all odds and norms, and the pure desire to be radical change makers fueled my own passions and interests every single day. I believe that we all pushed each other to reimagine the status quo beyond what was feasible and practical, and to push ourselves beyond our own individual capabilities and views. In a world where it's easy to be complacent and downtrodden by the immense suffering and inequality, the work it will take to overcome it all, my peers and colleagues in the class of 2021 are the glimmer of light that keeps me, and I'm sure many of us, hopeful for the future of this country and this world. As a collective, we have the passion we came with, and now we have the tools. We, the class of 2021, are the visionaries of a whole new world and a whole new way of existing. We are the visionaries that will reimagine justice, accountability, and more importantly, community. With the racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, pain, trauma, and suffering in this world, let alone this country, One of the main reasons I remain hopeful for a better future is because of all of you. Your existence alone is proof that the systemic and institutional change is possible. I may not know all of you personally, and I may not know what you plan to do with your degree, but no matter the legal or policy space you venture into, I'm confident that the ethos of serving others grounds you. The NUSL class of 2021 is set apart, especially from other classes of 2021. We are steadfast. We will advocate to the ends of the earth for our clients, our communities, and even our fellow students. That energy alone is so powerful, and with the tools we've acquired in law school, I know we are unstoppable beyond measure. So I urge and empower you all to bring that magic to the world because it's so beautiful, it's pure, and it's going to change the world for the better. I would like to leave you all with a quote from Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King in one of his sermons that grounds me in my purpose of pursuing justice fearlessly, and I hope it will ground you too. That if you have never found, you have not found something so dear and so precious to you that you will die for it, then you are not fit to live. You may be 38 years old, as I happen to be, and one day some great opportunity stands before you and calls upon you to stand for some great principle, some great cause, and you refuse to do it because you are afraid, because you want to live longer. You're afraid that you will lose your job, or you're afraid that you will be criticized, or that you will lose your popularity. Or you're afraid that somebody will stab you or shoot you or bomb your house, and so you refuse to take a stand. Well, you may go on to live until you are 90, but you are just as dead at 38 as you would be at 90. And the sensation of breathing in your life is but the belated announcement of an earlier death of the spirit. You died when you refused to stand up for right. You died when you refused to stand up for truth. You died when you refused to stand up for justice. So to the class of 2021, I urge you to stand up for right, truth, and justice in any and every way that speaks to you, to live your life with meaning and purpose as opposed to complacency. It cannot wait. Let's serve people, let's serve communities, let's destroy every single oppressive system in this country and in this world. Let's do it together. Thank you.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Mariah. Our second JD student speaker is Ali Madan. Ms. Madan has stood out over her 3 years at Northeastern as a dedicated advocate who has participated and led more student organizations and projects than we have time to list today. To name just a few, she founded NUSL Students for Immigrant Justice, chaired the Pro Bono Society, and has run several voter registration drives on campus. In recognition of her outstanding volunteer contributions, Ms. Madan was named the 2019 Pro Bono Honor Roll by the Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court. Ms. Madan has also served as a teaching assistant for property law twice. In an independent study project, she wrote a self-guided resource matching tool for immigrants in Massachusetts. She also participated in our COVID-19 Unemployment Rapid Response Project and joined our Immigrant Justice Clinic trip to the Dilley Detention Center in Texas in early 2020. Her co-ops included the ACLU, Ryan Immigrant Center, Massachusetts Attorney General's Office, and Lawyers for Civil Rights. In every way, she has lived the embodiment of our law school's social justice mission. Please welcome Ms. Madan to the stage.
Thank you, Dean Hackney, and good afternoon. I'm honored to be speaking today as a representative of the Northeastern University School of Law class of 2021. As we know, there are countless contradictions ingrained in the law and in being law students and lawyers. How do we seek justice for some while pursuing freedom for all? How do we advocate for our own clients without characterizing others as undeserving? How do we navigate working within a system and profession that are inherently flawed and discriminatory without perpetuating the same harms against others? There are no answers to these questions, only paths forward. In a recent talk here at Northeastern, Angela Davis, the brilliant scholar and civil rights activist, addressed similar tensions, explaining that we recognize the contradictions and continue to struggle for a better world for us all. We will continue, as individuals and collectively, to grapple with these contradictions for the rest of our lives. Today, as we graduate law school, we probably have even more questions than when we started, but that's a strength, not a weakness. As our friends and families might have noticed, we sometimes forget to turn off our lawyer brains. Seemingly innocuous topics can quickly turn into dissertations on the injustices of the world. While it can at times feel heavy and bleak, our compassion, curiosity, and ability to keep these considerations and contradictions in mind is precisely what makes us strong advocates. Law school was a time for us to learn and unlearn and forget and learn again. We discovered new passions, discover new passions, gain new perspective. Oh gosh, sorry. I was on a roll. We started to think more critically about our roles in the world. I can't imagine a better place to do that than at Northeastern, where public interest values and social justice issues are woven into every class, event, and conversation. I learned just as much from you all while eating lunch in Doxer, studying at Tate, or over drinks at Two Saints, as I did from any given lecture or reading. The past 3 years were both formative and informative. Together, we witnessed and experienced loss and suffering on a massive scale. We saw a resurgence in hate and violence, and we lost faith in the systems of justice and accountability we thought existed to protect us. Now, we see more clearly how the laws permit and inflict harm, particularly against those who are already marginalized. We understand that access to justice is inequitable, and we recognize that not only are the laws applied inconsistently, but that the laws themselves often disregard the health, safety, and humanity of our neighbors. Luckily, we did not learn the law in a vacuum. From clinics and co-ops to volunteer efforts and student organizations, there were ample opportunities to apply the skills we were learning in the classroom to support causes and communities. Most recently, from the movement for Black lives to the inequities that became glaringly obvious throughout the pandemic, we have seen the need for drastic systemic reform. We have engaged meaningfully with books and theories and visions of what that might look like. We may disagree on how to get there or even on the end goal, but we all know that change is necessary. And change can be hard. Our professors often describe the law as small c conservative in the sense that it moves slowly, much more slowly than many of us would like. However, as Justice Thurgood Marshall once said, you do what you think is right and let the law catch up. It is time for us to do what we think is right. It is time to use our privilege and position as soon-to-be attorneys. It is time to challenge institutions and systems, the ones we are in, the ones we benefit from, and the ones we perpetuate. It is time to listen to the voices of those who have been silenced and amplify the calls for change. Let's use the power, skills, and knowledge we gained during our time here at Northeastern. Let's use this power to tip the scales toward justice. Let's fight against white supremacy and for racial justice, against xenophobia and for immigrants, against mass incarceration and for structural reform, against efforts to disenfranchise and for all voices to be heard. Let's keep doing what we think is right. Slowly but surely, the law will catch up. I want to conclude by saying how incredibly proud we should all be of what we have accomplished. Not only did we make it through law school, but we made it through law school during a global pandemic. That is no small feat. In fact, according to the CDC, it should be at least 6 feet. Although we may have been apart, we still made it through together. We made it through these unprecedented times, and we will continue to persevere through the bar exam, into our next jobs, and throughout our careers. This ability to endure and succeed is due in large part to the efforts of others, our professors, mentors, supervisors, peers, friends, families, loved ones. Thank you to each and every single person that supported us along this journey. Congratulations again to the NUSO class of 2021. I wish you all the best and look forward to working alongside you in pursuit of a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Allie, for those inspirational words. Our final student speaker is Sumit Sachdeo, who is representing our LLM students. A native of India, Dr. Sachdeo earned his medical degree from Mangalore University in 1994, and then went on to earn a law degree in 2000. Prior to coming to Northeastern to earn his Master of Law degree, he spent more than 20 years as a multi-certified professional in Indian, Canadian, and international healthcare. His combination of medicine and law degrees has provided him with exceptional problem-solving and conflict resolution skills. Dr. Sachdeo spent his co-op this spring at Mass General Brigham and has been a valued member of our law school's South Asian Law Students Association. Please welcome Dr. Sachdeo.
It's hot. Provost Madigan, Dean Hackney, Director Cassidy, faculty, fellow graduates, family, and friends. It is my honor today to celebrate the class of 2021. As you could probably tell, my classmates selected me to be their commencement speaker because of my youthful good looks and fabulous hair. So, we started this year amid the confusion and uncertainty of the novel coronavirus. And yet, in spite of all the social distancing, we have forged strong bonds of friendship. My classmates represent every continent on this planet. We have NUSL's first ever LLM student from Guinea, from Mongolia, from Uruguay, and from Vietnam. We have human rights activists from Africa and South America. We have at least one PhD and several Fulbright scholars, and one classmate with an unusually antagonistic relationship with squirrels. That's good. A couple of my classmates can, and very often do, question everything. And Zoom even allowed some family members to get really intimate with the class. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this fantastic mix of cultures and the energy that will not stop. The class of 2021. During this past year, we have had some amazing teachers. The passionate discussions in Professor Palomino's class and the 6 months we spent with Professor Courtney easily come to mind. The LLM program at NUSU has been an intensive introduction to the American legal system for us. And I'm confident that it has equipped us for the challenges that lie ahead. Teachers, I express a heartfelt gratitude to you. I also thank my parents, my brother Amit, Barry, and Patrick for all the support and convincing me to take this program. The Northeastern LLM program has been simply awesome. And a special shout out to Claire in the co-op office. Claire, you have been awesome. Thank you for all your help. You have the patience of a saint. I've also been warned that I must thank my wife. Else it's the doghouse for all of eternity. So thank you to my wife for putting up with me all these years. Okay. This year is extra special for me. My son has also just graduated, and he can now start paying Northeastern for my tuition. Thank you, son. Dad loves you. Payback's a beautiful thing. And finally, some words of profound wisdom. My first graduation from medical school was about 29 years ago. Our dean ended his speech with a quote from an American-born Buddhist monk, Pema Chodron. You are the sky. Everything else, it's just the weather. I confess it has taken me half my life just to understand those 10 words. But here is what I feel they mean. The sky is a constant. It is not affected by passing clouds or lightning or even rainbows. It is above all the petty stuff. That is what we should strive to be. You are bigger than your past, your present, and even your future. So rise above the day-to-day anxieties and concentrate on what really matters. Don't take yourself too seriously. Nothing lasts forever. Treasure your sanity and your friends. Neither is worth losing over a petty difference. Know yourself. Be friends with yourself. Be your own worst critic and your own biggest fan. Don't compare yourself with others. There will always be someone better. And I guarantee you will always be better than countless others. Don't worry about being different or sticking out like a sore thumb. Just be you, be happy, and communicate that happiness to everyone around you. 100 years ago, there was another pandemic. An estimated 50 million people succumbed to it. But humanity persevered. Today, in this post-pandemic world, as we slowly get back on our feet, it is fitting to count our blessings and to remember that life goes on. I will end with a quote from Max Ehrman, an Indiana lawyer who studied law right here in Boston. These words, written 100 years ago, have a whole new significance today. So from Desiderata, you are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be, and in this noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Thanks for those profound words, Sumit. Our faculty speaker, chosen by the graduating class, is University Distinguished Professor Margaret Burnham. Professor Burnham founded and directs the law school's Civil Rights and Restorative Justice Project, which investigates racial violence in the Jim Crow era and other historical failures of the criminal justice system. Professor Burnham's work, as well as many of our students and graduates who have participated in the CRRJ clinic, has been featured numerous times in the national press and will be featured in an upcoming PBS Frontline documentary, Unresolved. Professor Burnham has been on the Northeastern faculty for 20 years. Previously, she served on the Judiciary and practiced law in Massachusetts. She taught many of today's graduates constitutional law and federal courts. Her primary research interests center around retrospective justice and human rights. We are eagerly awaiting the publication of her forthcoming book, by hands now known, Jim Crow's Legal Executioners. Welcome to the stage, Professor Margaret Burnham.
Thank you, Hemant. Thank you to all of the students, wonderful student speakers. I thank you, Dean Hackney, for that very warm introduction, and I also thank our Dean for the steady hand and the clear vision with which he has guided our law school in this year, a year like no other. in this time of plagues and protests. Dean Hackney and his team have looked after each and every one of us, each student, each teacher, each staff member, and we as a community are the stronger for his leadership. Thank you as well to Deans Madison, Rosenblum, Harper, Rethage, SG, Dialshand, to Bill Green and his team, to Deborah Feldman and Miel Marquis. Thanks to all of you who've made it possible for us to do what we do, which is to teach and to learn in this great place. Now to you, our graduates, our students, and very shortly to be our colleagues at the bar. First and foremost, congratulations. The exams, the forms, the case books, the outlines, the study groups, the affinity groups, all of that is behind you now. In front of you is the work we hope we have prepared you to do. For so many of you, as Mariah and others have said, it's the work you set out to do long ago, years before you came to Northeastern. It's the work you fervently recommitted to in this year of progressive protest, the work of building a legal system with equal justice at its heart, a system to which we all have access, equal access, a system worthy of investment, not disinvestment, a system of which we can all unreservedly be proud. You brought something when you came to our law school, and you expected to take something away from this place. You were advocates before you got here, holding down important jobs in immigration rights organizations, in unions, in domestic violence clinics, leading BLM networks, and working in government offices and small, private, progressive, public interest law firms. You chose our school because your education in international human rights, or in political science, or in history or technology suggested that studying law could pull together for you important ideas, ideals, and ideologies. And it could leave you as well, at the end of the day, to a way to make an honest living for yourselves and those who you love and support. When you joined this community, you brought to the table intense personal commitments, rooted in resistance to all that goes wrong in law. As you embarked on your legal education, certainly you were anxious and excited, but you also harbored a sincere cynicism about the relationship between law and justice. And for many of you, the more law you read, the more cynical you became. Our job, your teachers, was to meet you when and where you entered, and to prepare you for your life's work. And that meant confronting and untangling along with you the profound contradictions that are inherent in law, in legal education, and in legal practice. We did, as has said before here at this podium, a lot of this work in the classroom and in the clinics, and you did some of it in co-op. But much of it you did with your fellow students in the halls, in the places where you had coffee together, and in the spaces you created for yourselves over these years. Together, we explored not just the intricacies of the Uniform Commercial Code, Civil Procedure Rule 12b-6, and the Communications Decency Act, but also the hazards of learning, as Dean Hackney reflected a moment ago, to think like a lawyer. We worked our way through the messy underbelly of that concept, appreciating how lawyers problem solve, the value they place on attention to detail and precision and rigor in thought and clarity in the written word. Mastering, you did, the stylized language and methods of legal discourse. We came to admire together the balletic beauty of the well-crafted argument. You took all this in, but as well you grasped that thinking like a lawyer might reproduce those habits of mind that obscure structural injustices, economic inequalities, and histories of oppression. And that part of thinking like a lawyer you rejected. We thought together, you and your teachers, about how lawyers who are devoted to social justice can craft authentic professional identities that reflect their values. We acknowledge that the powerful appeal of fame and ambition and professional recognition might at times conflict with our commitments to work with people on the margins. We puzzled together over how to make room in the world we live in for the discerning prosecutor, the anti-capitalist, socialist corporate lawyer, the radical criminal court judge. We thought together about whether we could bend those jobs toward the arc of justice, or whether, on the other hand, they would bend us, forcing us to do things we loathed, or at least things we thought we loathed before we came to law school. And together, as demonstrators beckoned us to join them in the streets, as videos of police lynching and anti-Asian mass shootings reminded us of the urgency of now, the urgency of the moment, we pondered whether there really was any meaningful place for what we were learning. We thought about how, as lawyers, we might use what one law teacher has called our comparative advantage to advance movements for social change. We explored how, now newly equipped with our hard-earned credentials, we might manage power discrepancies with our clients, how we would handle conflicting interests between a client and a constituency, how we would try to avoid serving two masters, how we would use our authority and knowledge to shift power to our clients, all the while seeking to transform the legal culture within which we would be operating. Together, we grappled with the inherent tension in our studies, identifying law as a source of both power and threat, as a tool of resistance and an instrument of oppression, as a field upon which concepts of genuine justice could be nurtured, but also as a breeding ground for inequality and subordination. We sought together to pierce the veil of law, to unmask its facade of neutrality, to understand how injustice and powerlessness and violence were reproduced over and over and over again under the flag of the rule of law. We became familiar with these contradictions and shortcomings, and we came to understand that injustice is buried deep in law, that it stitches one precedent to the next, that it is both potent and invisible, and that the rules we study appear to be blind to the privilege they entrench and the misery that they impose on poor communities and communities of color. Together, we built progressive understandings of the rule of law, searching for light in critical legal studies and in critical race theory, even as we mastered arcane legal doctrine and prepared for the bar exam. You, the class of 2021, you've grappled with these contradictions. You came here knowing a lot about the law's defining failures, and you came nevertheless seeking to transform our law, our country. Khalifallah Osman will begin his career as a lawyering fellow with UN Local, an organization that provides free legal services to immigrants in New York City. Now, Khalifallah came to this law school because law failed him. when Khalifallah was in the 7th grade, his imam, who had fled the regime of Saddam Hussein, was wrongly arrested by an FBI agent in a raid on Khalifallah's mosque, and the imam was convicted and deported. Khalifallah, then a 7th grader, now today a JD, decided then that his life's work would be to prevent such injustices. Alyssa Mariah Gutierrez studied women's development in the Democratic Republic of Congo before she came to law school. And she decided as a sophomore on the debate team in her high school that she would go to law school because her subject for her debate was the victims of human trafficking. And there she decided she had voice, she had knowledge, she had courage, and law school was for her. When she got here, she met Professor Woody Hartzog, and now, inspired by him, Alyssa Mariah will work to magnify the blessings of new technology and minimize their perils. Aisha Stevens chose to become a lawyer in 8th grade, in part because of her father's experiences as a defendant and as a victim in the criminal system. That 8th grader, now a JD, will in a few months be a public defender here in Massachusetts. She says, be a better one because of the issues she grappled with in Professor Debbie Ramirez's Race, Justice, and Reform program. Joanna Zing, the daughter of immigrants, pushed back against the law's traditional victim-perpetrator, plaintiff-defendant binaries, favoring instead collective problem-solving and accountability. She found models of lawyering here in the law school who cut against the grain. And she, Joanna, will head to California this fall, where she will defend the rights of people of color in criminal custody who are locked in psychiatric wards. And finally, Erin Mccrady. Erin Mccrady, a Canadian who came to Northeastern Law School well-versed in international human rights law, and who applied that expertise brilliantly to a Louisiana civil rights cold case in the Civil Rights and Restorative Justice Clinic. Erin is now headed to Harvard Law School's Center for Health Law and Policy Innovation, and she will focus on access to health care. So folks, hats off to Khalifallah, Alyssa Mariah, Aisha, Erin, and Joanna. And to each of you sitting out there in that hot sun, the graduating class of 2021. To steal a line from Joanna Zing's award-winning Denise Cardi Bonilla essay, your legal education is concluding, but your passion for social justice and community well-being will remain lifelong. And finally, folks, if we've given you some of the tools you will need to build a lifelong public interest career, then we have succeeded. If we have prepared you to leverage the power of law to meet the moment, the convergence of structural racism, public health urgencies, and vaccine apartheid, the ongoing impoverishment of working-class people, then we have succeeded. If we have helped you to both critique and to defend the rule of law, then we have succeeded. If we have taught you to lawyer in a lawless space, then we have succeeded. If we have helped you not to just imagine a different legal system, but to imagine a different kind of legal education from the one that you received, then we have succeeded. Go forth, my dear ones. Be strong, be solid, be loving, and make us a new world We certainly deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, for those inspirational words. I am honored to welcome this year's commencement speaker, Nabiya Syed, who is joining us today remotely from California. As you have read in our program today, Ms. Syed's career has been impressive. She oversees the Markup's strategy, growth plans, and business operations, as well as legal, communications, personnel, and other operational matters. Before joining the Markup, Ms. Syed was Vice President and Associate General Counsel at BuzzFeed, where she counseled on news gathering, libel, and privacy matters worldwide. Under her leadership, the company successfully defended against libel litigation arising out of publication of the Steele dossier, and initiated numerous notable access litigations. Prior to BuzzFeed, Ms. Syed co-founded the nation's first media access law clinic at Yale Law School and served as a First Amendment Fellow at the New York Times. Ms. Syed has been described as, quote, one of the best emerging free speech lawyers, close quote, by Forbes magazine, and a, quote, real reporter's lawyer by the Reporters Committee for the Freedom of the Press, which recognized her with an inaugural award in 2018. She is also a lifelong Girl Scout. Ms. Syed.
Thank you, Dean Hackney, and to the Northeastern community. It is an honor to be at a school that prizes justice and social consciousness, especially in these times. I also want to thank all of you. Even in normal times, law school is grueling, and today would be considered the culmination of a tremendous effort. You've added a pandemic and political tumult to the mix, and I'm sure with some personal cost. We've all struggled in ways visible and ways that are not, through the loss of loved ones and through the general anxiety of this time. You've struggled to pay attention through Zoom, which I'll bet you didn't bargain for when you sat down for the LSAT so many moons ago. So at the outset, I just want to say that I see you, and I respect you so deeply for all that it's taken for you to get to this moment today. But where I want to start is years ago with what brought you here. You came to Northeastern because you cared about something. Something ignited your passions. For me, and I imagine many of you, that was justice. And if you care about justice, the last year was perhaps one of the most challenging we've ever seen. We felt the absence of justice in so many of our society's systems: the policing system, the healthcare system, the immigration system, the housing system, unemployment, and other government benefits systems. So I'm going to bet you know the feeling, the frustration, the outrage in the face of big, thorny systems that are broken, but still keep churning. They're not going anywhere. I know I felt like that many times in the last year. Here's what I want to say to you. Take that feeling and stare it straight in the face. That feeling is going to be what helps you find opportunity and motivation amidst all of the chaos. That feeling is going to help you name and then change the broken systems that you encounter. It is going to fuel you in the world that we all now have to build. At least that feeling is what helped motivate me in my career as a First Amendment and media lawyer. So let me tell you a little bit about that. Since I was a little kid, I always loved the news. I loved it. Some of my most treasured memories are watching the PBS NewsHour on local television with my dad, where a little version of me cultivated many precocious political thoughts, including the fact that Bill Clinton should have his turn to become president because George Bush already took a turn. When the internet came along, and by that I mean AOL dial-up, not Wi-Fi or even 5G, ask your parents or ask a friend. It felt like freedom. I could read anything, news from anywhere. It was a total joy to have unencumbered access to the full public square. I spent too many hours vacuuming up all of the information that I could. And then something happened. When the war on terror started, the war that won't end even half my life later, the mainstream media felt like it changed too. Headlines everywhere asked, are they with us or against us? And this little Pakistani Muslim girl, I didn't know whether my fellow Americans thought I was a they or an us. And then this word kept popping up everywhere, a serious word that cast a long shadow: terrorist. Now, there are many dystopian plays on language. At the time, people tried to make freedom fries happen instead of French fries. But the loose use of language concealed stories that I didn't see in the press. We knew families who had the FBI knock on their door unexpectedly, and now those families were cautious about anything they said on the phone. We knew people who were turned away suddenly at the airport, told that they were not allowed to fly, but with no reason given to them and no recourse. We knew people who had done nothing wrong, who stopped associating with their religious communities for fear of being associated with that word, terrorist. Now, I didn't see this reality reflected in the press, but where I did see it, I saw similar stories on the internet in small message boards in the communities. Eventually, those stories made their way into the press, and one of those stories on the surveillance of Muslim communities won a Pulitzer in 2011. Seeing everyday people speak up helped me feel less powerless, less angry, less confused. And so I thought, I'm going to do what I can to protect this kind of speech, the speech of those who stand up to the powerful. I'm going to become a First Amendment expert, a media lawyer. Now, that desire to see justice done through bearing witness to injustice has fueled my entire career. It's taken to me Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to argue for access rights, to arguing for access to police disciplinary records in the New York Supreme Court, to representing protesters, to starting one of the nation's first media law clinics. But here's what matters for you. The issue that I couldn't stop thinking about: who gets to speak and what might stop them? That's what drove me to my career. You all have something like that. Answer it. Don't wait for the perfect job or for someone to give you permission to do that. The opportunity to answer this feeling is always there, and maybe it'll drive you to dedicate your entire career in public interest law. Or maybe you'll find yourself as a general counsel at some company, and as a person who cares about caregivers, you might have the opportunity to argue for expanded caregivers leave. No matter what it is, whatever the issue, if it keeps you up at night, follow that. Now, what keeps me up at night these days is a little more unexpected. It turns out that the same internet that I thought was the site of truth is also a seamless vector for unchecked misinformation. It is ripping apart our society, whether it's through insurrection attempts on the Capitol or anti-vaccine rhetoric, all on these big tech platforms. We're watching as our public square, something we need for democracy, totally breaks down. Intellectually, it's challenging for me. Is our commitment to freedom of speech failing us? What might it mean to consider the rights of the listener, that is your right to receive truthful information, co-equal with the rights of the speaker, who might have a reason to mislead you? What kind of solution could be effective for complex, sprawling systems like Facebook, a company that's larger and better resourced than many governments? Practically, though, when I can't sleep, the big thoughts are great, but I want to do something. And when we talk about big systemic problems, it's challenging to know where to start to do something. Luckily, the first step lies in something you've already spent thousands of hours on. You've stared at them, these little clues, every day, especially at your time at Northeastern. And because of your degree, you're now an expert in them. The first step in building the future lies in the building blocks of how we relate to one another. Our words. Here's what I mean. And because we're lawyers here, there are 3 parts to my answer, of course. The first is I want you to think about how words you use shape you as a human being. The poet Ocean Vuong, in a beautiful interview with Krista Tippett, asks us to consider, what does it do to our brain when you use phrases like, you're killing it, to say you're doing well? How does it shape how we act with one another? What does it say when we say we're hunting down terrorists, a phrase we use for animals, not people? How does this coarsen who we are as humans? Second, I want you to think about how words can obscure or expose reality. Words like terrorist, rioter, protester. What did you imagine with each word? What about when we say, that group of kids over there, they're just hanging out, versus that group of kids is loitering? What did you imagine? These phrases are more insidious than we realize. Take the phrase battleground state, as Mr. Vuong points out, to describe voting in a peaceful democratic process. Does it make sense? Or officer-involved shooting instead of a killing, or enhanced interrogation instead of torture. Think about how these words entrench trust in flawed systems. What do they obscure? As lawyers, this is going to matter a ton for you. Being a lawyer is an exercise in creating categories and finding the right metaphors. In my slice of the law, for example, we think about whether our internet-enabled speech system should be described as a marketplace of ideas, which lends itself, of course, to little regulation and therefore a lot of chaos. Should it be something else? Should we use different words? In her Nobel Prize speech almost 30 years ago, Toni Morrison warned us to reject malign language of law without ethics. Remember, the words that you, as lawyers, choose will decide whether someone is free or not, eat or go hungry, be able to earn a paycheck or not. That is the power you will have as lawyers. Wield that power in service of justice. Whether it's a high-stakes criminal defense case or an everyday employment contract, the same principle applies. Your words will matter. Third, accept that words create our future, and here's how. Rebecca Solnit explains that words carry the power to convey meaning, to make us see, to make us feel, to make us care. Because words name things. So phrases like cyberbullying, or the 99% and the 1%, they help us organize and therefore shape our reality. By the same token, imprecise words limit our understanding. And in this moment, in 2021, staring at a world that needs to improve, you cannot afford to limit your understanding of reality. Once we understand our reality, we can imagine better. And as Ursula K. Le Guin told us, we will not be free if we don't imagine freedom. That is your task for the decades to come. Imagining what it looks like for all of us to be free. Now, to be clear, words on their own aren't going to be the solution, but words shape us. They reveal our reality. They build what's possible, and so they're the first step. Conveniently, they're also a step that you can take every day. So when you're up at night wondering about how to tackle a sprawling, messy system of injustice, remember that you can start with the building block of the word. This is what you've been training for the last few years, through your hours of study, your nights awake memorizing concepts, the countless essays and the externship hours I know you've logged. Today marks the recognition that you are a person who is conscious of the power of words. And I'm thrilled to see how you're going to use them. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabiya, for those inspirational words. Provost Madigan, I have the honor of presenting Nabiya Syed for special recognition. Little more than a decade out of Yale Law School, you have established yourself as an influential voice on behalf of First Amendment press freedoms and the empowerment of investigative journalists to speak truth to power. As a law student, you co-founded the nation's first media access law clinic to provide journalists with legal support for their investigative work, while immersing future First Amendment lawyers to the interstices of media law. In your stellar career thus far, as a First Amendment Fellow at the New York Times, an associate at the renowned media law firm Levine, Sullivan, Koch, and Schultz, and as Vice President and Associate General Counsel at the news organization BuzzFeed, your legal skills and fierce advocacy have earned acclaim from journalists and professional peers alike. Now, in your role as president of the nonprofit news organization, the Markup, you aim to galvanize truly independent investigative reporting about a source of power and control that rivals that of any government, big technology. Therefore, on the occasion of your address to the Northeastern University School of Law class of 2021, we express our deep admiration and gratitude for your leadership in advancing a pillar of our democracy, a free press.
Nabiya Syed, rising star in media law, inspirational First Amendment advocate, champion of a free press, Northeastern is pleased to bestow upon you this special citation.
Now, for the moment we've all been waiting for. The degrees will now be conferred. Provost Madigan, it's my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled and others joining us from locations across the world have qualified in all respects for the degree of Juris Doctor, Master of Laws, Master of Legal Studies. They have successfully completed curriculum by the School of Law and have been recommended by the faculty and the Council of Deans to be awarded degrees in recognition of their academic accomplishments. Will the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please rise as you are able and remain standing until your degree has been conferred. Provost Madigan, I am honored to present the candidates who have qualified in all respects for the degree of Juris Doctor.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University, I do hereby confer on you and all those who have properly qualified the degree of Juris Doctor with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining. Congratulations.
Graduates, please be seated. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies please rise as you are able and remain standing until your degree has been conferred. Provost Madigan, I am honored to present the candidates who have qualified in all respects for the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University, I do hereby confer on you and all those who have properly qualified, the degree of Master of Laws or Master of Legal Studies, with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining. Congratulations.
Will the graduates please be seated? Giovanni Mitchell Allen and Jasmine Nicole Brown will announce the name of each Juris Doctor graduate. The Master of Laws graduates will be announced by Eduardo Antonio Monteverde. The Master of Legal Studies graduates will be announced by Director Dan Ehrman. All graduates here and those joining us from around the world, please rise when your name is called. As you're able, hood yourself and then take your seat.
For the degree of Juris Doctor. Jenna Ashley Agatep. Veronica Elizabeth Alex. Katie Yasmin Alvarez Caracamo. Ana Maria Aristemuño Teixeira. Abigail McKinley Armstrong. Pavit Aurora. Rohit Balagopal. Andrew Baldison. Megan L. Bartholomew. Paraskivi Batsikis. Jordan R. Bear. Ramzi Nohad Bashara. Casey E. Berkowitz. Suheidi Betances. Megan Catherine Bird. Robert Michael Bone. Zoe Abigail Bowman. Colette Noel Brashears. Anne Marie Bravo. Rory Murphy Brown. Summer Marie Brown. Emily Ada Marie Butcher. Megan Blair Burns. Amelia Nicole Caramadre. Catalina Carbonell. Samantha Lynn Cardwell. Sarah Catherine Caruso. Michael D. Centerbar. Claire R. Chang. Samantha Herin Chang. Alicia Marie Chenard. Ryan A. Christensen. Greer Addison Clem. Nicole M. Coaches. Shameen Nicole Paris Cooper. Emma Carreno. Tyler James County. Rachel Catherine Crosby. Anna Marie Daniels. Christina D. Daniels. Kenneth G. DeRizio II. Sarah Lee Day. Stephanie Ann Dimitri. Bryn Olivia Duval. Catherine L. Dwyer. Shelby M. Emley. Colin Elliott English. Luis Felipe Escobedo. Oriana Mai Farnham. Christine R. Farolan. Andrew E. Farrington. Rebecca Feldhaus. Ariana D. Fleses. Jonathan Patrick Flynn. Kevin Michael Forbes. Matthias Francis Fraselli. Devin Joseph Friedfertig. Benjamin Seth Gadboy. Natalie Rose Gallego. Rachel Ann Garcia. Emily Ann Garrett. Madison Elizabeth Garrett. Stephanie Gonzalez. Amanda M. Gordon. Samara Rettig Green. Lindsay A. Greibel. Lucinda R. Galino. Elisa Mariah Gutierrez. Bethel Hupta. Camila Tomatoes Haig. Sean Hansen. Benjamin Daniel Hayes. Olivia N. Hess. Juliana Lee Hillis. Mark Donald Hochberg. Kevin David Hosley. Nasim Mer Hossenzadeh. Paige Elizabeth Huggins. Christopher K. Hui. Ariana Nicole Imbrescia. Thomas P. Jackham. Jaden M. Jackson. Wisdom J. Jackson. Austin Delosh Jones. Evan Charles Jones. Emily Andrea Kaiser. Kevo Danijay Kapadia. Martha Karn. Kimin Kaur. Sean M. Kellogg. Ashton E. Kennedy. Jeanette Kernison Adelson. Huda Kawaja. Jeff Barker Kidd. Sungwon Sunny Kim. Grant Dana King.
Kelsey R. Kitchens. Leora Hannah Kelper. Eleanor Roketter Lansbaum. Molly R. Lansdowne. Cassandra Renee LaRose. Robert Mukisik Lisgord. Ji Liu. Nelson Xiang Dong Liu. Daniel Christopher Lucy. Evan Robert Ma. Alicia Madan. Michael James Mann. Kristen Marie Manning. Shannon Matthew. Mackenzie Clayton Mayberry. Hannah Elizabeth Mayo. Mary Rose Mazzola. Erin Elizabeth Mccrady. Chris McDonough. Allison Violet McMahon. Olivia Mellinson. Mary Grace Fenton Minner. Gabrielle Amanda Marie Mercer. Anna T. Michelle. Sarah Elizabeth Midkiff. Jake Francis Moldowski. Claudia Morera. Alyssa M. Myers. Matthew J. Nettie. Leah Jane Newman. Jody Wanda Ing. Alexander R. Noelty. Michael E. Nzoiwu. Andrea D. Ocasio Alvarez. Morgan Elizabeth O'Grady. Ned Austin Oringer. Jessica Rose O'Rourke Shukoff. Molly Patricia O'Shea. Kalafala Uzman. Dylan S. O'Sullivan. Gregory Walter Paul. Christian Papiakovu. Alexis Nicole Palecchio. Nemesha Pearl Pereira. Leslie Elizabeth Pereira Gonzalez. Trang T. Pham. Tamar Y. Pinto. Brian Raymond Pratt. Alexandra Lee Preston. Sylvana Chan Quinlan. Melinda E. Reed. Alexa N. Riley. Patrick Stephen Reynolds. Kimberly Liet Rodriguez. Ulysses Rodriguez. Adrian Solana Rosenblatt. Jessica J. Rondell. Andrea Elizabeth Satchwell. Michael J. Shinto. Melissa Ann Scott. Elijah C.A. Rawa Silas Sabat. Lauren Samantha Morrison Shapiro. Jinal Sharma. Annika Nicole Skansberg. Courtney E. Skane. Tyler J. Slatter. Brendan Henry Smith. Ryan Michael Smith. Sarah R. Smith. Michael William Stack. Alexandra Stetson Barlow. Ayesha Dominique Stevens. Aaron Arthur Stewart. William Wellington Strelo. Michael A. Swain. Juan Alejandro Tamayo IV. Hannah Louise Taylor. Caitlin V. Thompson. Susanna Chekhov. Rohan Himan Sho Vakil. Samantha Maria Vasco. Ana Paula Velarde Lesgi. Janki H. Vioja. David Douglas Wall. Ryan Matthew Ward. Lauren Ashley Watford. Jamie Marie Watson. George Colin Anderson Weber. Daniel Robert Wells. Mariah J. Wilkins. Parker Lee Winship. Andrew M. Winston. Joanna Shing. Helen D. Yurchenko. Nicholas M. Zaricki. Chris Yu Sheng Zhang. Jin Yin Zhu. Zachary Paul Zook. Giovanni Mitchell Allen.
Jasmine Nicole Brown.
For the degree of Masters of Laws, Nora Adel Salem Al-Hamari. Paulina Arutseva. Hamad Asharafi. Seth C. Atsumbuike. Tetsin Shemek Baiglama. Florencia René Sets Figueredo. Hanye Chen. Joseph G. Cooper. Mohamed Lamine Diallo. Lillian A. Eje. Janelle S. Evans. Sara Fornas Farouk Shiar. Raúl José González. Nuria Iturbe Cosano. Stephanie Justinico. Maya Tanaka Cabasa. Daniel Robert Manrique. Yuri Mensa Frimpong. Anas Saya Metet. Mary Tatra Musheshe. Elizabeth Deborah Namala. Tan Yen Ni Nguyen. Ishiomasintia Onowokai. Ekta Patak. Lucia Propokova. Sumit Sachdeo. Daniel Tardan Garcia Sainz. Adefolobora Olupe Tocan Lawal. Pablo Luis Tomaselli. Marita Silvia Tremblay. Cristina M. Desai. Lynette Van Nierkerk. Siru Wang. Mekfong Yan. Xiaotan Su.
Eduardo Antonio Monteverde. For the degree of Master of Legal Studies, Darya Chernikova. Tracy Davis. Matthew Doran. Elaha Dorsey. Courtney A. Dowling. Amy Elizabeth Downing. Hasna Faiz. Emily Michelle Guffey. Amy Pearl Holt. Sheila Joyce Legone. Kelsey Lynn Malone. Doris C. McDowell. Alexandra Modrov. Nashay Morgan. Elizabeth Myers. Deanna Gail Napier. Ricardo Nicholas. Claudia Olivero. Melissa Garland Peak. Ibelsa Evelina Tavares Laura. Shyla Storm Taylor. Jennifer Mather Thomas. Rasika Priya Venkataraman.
Will the graduates please rise? Congratulations to all of you. Well done. And please, while you're standing, please turn and thank your families and friends and colleagues and so on who are here. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. It is my great honor to deliver this charge to you. Your ideals are what drew you to the legal profession. Now this is your moment. Wherever your path leads, you have the power to ensure a more just world. And as you pursue this noble mission, remember the lesson of this past year. Our human connections give us the strength to overcome any challenge. We have experienced those connections most deeply in the support we have gained, all of us, from our Northeastern community this past year. This will always be so. Wherever your journey takes you, Northeastern is your lifelong home. Go forth, safeguard the rule of law, and bend it toward justice. And always keep Northeastern in your hearts. Graduates, I salute you. Congratulations. I now turn the program over to the Chief Marshal.
Thank you, Provost Madigan. Will the audience remain in their seats until the platform party has recessed? Graduates, please remain seated until the class photo is taken. Ladies and gentlemen, for more than 1 year, Northeastern has been remarkably successful in keeping students, staff, faculty, and guests healthy. Therefore, we ask as you exit, please maintain a safe physical distance.